In this first video, we're going to be looking at the characteristics of living things. And when we're looking at the characteristics of living things, we need to know that as scientists, they've come up with a list of 8. So that there are 8 criteria that make something living, or if it doesn't meet these criteria, it's non-living. One of the first ones would be that it's made up of cells. And you can see a picture of cells here. In this one, the cells are very close, they're touching each other, but a cell in general is just the smallest unit that you would consider something to be living. Many things are multicellular, like you and I, but there are unicellular, or just one single cell, and those are still alive as well. Living things need to be able to reproduce. Not every single living thing can reproduce, but as a species, they need to be able to, or we'd go extinct. There are 2 types of reproduction, and the first one is sexual reproduction. This is the one that we're most familiar with. You can see in this picture you have the sperm and the egg, and those 2 have to unite. It takes 2 different cells from different parents combining to form the first cell of our new organism. That's sexual reproduction. The other type is called asexual, and this is very common, just not with us, so we're not as familiar with it. But in asexual reproduction, it involves only a single parent. So you notice this is your original parent right here, and this is what you call budding, and this parent is producing an offspring. This offspring right here would be a clone of the parent. So in asexual reproduction, a single parent, sometimes it splits in half. There are certain worms, when you cut them in half, actually you have 2 worms instead of a dead worm cut in half. And in this type, it's called budding. It's a hydra, and eventually it will break off from the parent and it will be on its own, and it's a clone. The DNA is 100% the same because it is the parent, piece of the parent breaking off. The third characteristic of living things is that there's a genetic code, and the genetic code is DNA. And that DNA codes for all your inheritance, but living things have DNA. Sometimes in a nucleus, sometimes it's not in the nucleus, but we all have DNA. A fourth characteristic, all living things grow and develop. So if we look back at baby pictures from you, we would be able to see that not only have you grown taller, grown more mature, cognitively, thinking-wise, you have gotten smarter, you've grown there. But we all started as a single cell, and we grow up, at least as humans, to be adults. But think of the other living things that you've seen, maybe a small plant that's grown bigger. There's growth and development there. Sometimes it might not be a huge amount of growth and development, but any growth and development is a living thing characteristic. The fifth characteristic would be that we can obtain and use materials and energy. So when we obtain, we have to be able to get food, we have to be able to use the food, we have to be able to get energy from the food that we're eating. For plants, it might be, they still have to obtain the materials needed, like the sunlight, water, carbon dioxide, so that they can make their food, and then they use that food for their energy. When we talk about this particular characteristic, the word metabolism is a very important word in biology. We'll see that several times throughout the trimester. And when we hear metabolism, we normally think, a person with a fast metabolism loses weight quickly, they can eat whatever they want. But metabolism is more than just what you eat and how quickly your stomach digests it, but it's more all the reactions, breaking down materials into living things. It's all the reactions. So it's the brain reactions that happen, it's your heart beating, it's the stomach digestion is part of it, it's all the muscle contractions, it's all the chemical reactions that allow you to survive. So it's more than just whether you can eat a lot or not. Another characteristic is you respond to your environment. A living thing needs to be able to respond to their environment. They're affected by their environment. We all know as a young kid we learn not to touch things that are hot on the stove because it hurts. Okay, so that's just one response, but we call that a stimulus. This is another word that we'll use many times, but a stimulus is a signal to which you are going to respond to. So for instance, when you are asleep in the morning and somebody switches on the lights, You're, maybe put a cover over your eyes dilate from that quick bright light hitting on them, and so that's a stimulus. You respond to temperature by sweating or shivering. There are a lot of things in and around us that we respond to. The seventh one is that we need to maintain a stable internal environment. This is a key word. You will see this word guaranteed more than once, and more than likely it'll be on the ECA test at the end of your second half of biology. But the word homeostasis means that inside you have to keep multiple things balanced. You have to keep your heart rate consistent. You have to keep, you have to keep lots of internal conditions balanced. This picture is showing insulin levels. So if your glucose gets too high, how does your body react to that? If your glucose levels get too low, how your body reacts to that. All of which are trying to get back to normal balanced. So homeostasis is the process of keeping your internal conditions balanced or at normal. And lastly, we have as a group, so as a species, living things change over time. And you can see in this generation there was actually an environmental factor that caused the lighter colored moths to not survive, and over time the darker colored moths actually became more preyed upon. But anyway, as a group, you have to adapt to your changing environment. You might have to adapt to changing temperatures or adapt to a different type of soil, that, different pH in the soil one year to the next. So as a living things, we have to meet all of these 8 characteristics in order to be considered by a scientist as a living thing.